Let me ask you all a simple yet very important question. Have you ever skipped a trade because you felt scared and then watched the market move exactly in your direction? That feeling is fear and discomfort controlling your decisions. Now, today we will talk about how to use that fear instead of running from it. That means, how can we use it in favor of us and become a consistent, profitable trader, right? So, yes, as I said, the topic is fear and discomfort, and by the end of the video, you'll have all the answers and the action steps on which you'll work and ultimately you'll grow. Okay, so let's start with a quote by Shannon L. Alder. If I'm mispronouncing any word, you understand it, right? So Shannon L. Alder, inspirational author, right? So he says this is very important. Okay, if you'll make it like if you can make this as a part of your belief system, then you can do wonders in your life. Okay, so the quote is very small but yet very important. That is, life always begins with one step outside of your comfort zone. That means if you want to experience life, if you want to live your life fully or to the full of your potential, you have to step out of your comfort zone. It can be different for, like, it can vary from person to person, the comfort zone, but yes, the gist is you have to get out of your comfort zone to work full potential, like work with your full potential and achieve all the things that you have, that you aspire for. Okay, so let's begin. Whenever we try something new, we experience anxiety. Remember your first trading day, you put a buying or you put a selling, whatever you did, depending on if you're an option buyer or option seller, right? Or you are basically a call or put, like whatever you did, basically the gist is, do you remember when you tried it first time? So if you did some research before it and you put your trade on, then there must be some anxiety. There must be, like, there can be two scenarios. The first thing, you just did it to try it out. Like, then at the time there was no expectation, there were no what I can say, things that you wanted from the market. It just, you were trying it. So at the time you had no anxiety, it was like a new experience to you. But the second scenario is, let's say you learned a lot of things, you learned about the all kind of candlestick patterns, strategy and trading rules, discipline, and after that you started your trading, like you punch in your first trade. That time you must have had some anxiety, right? So whenever we try something new, we experience anxiety, and which is very common. We are afraid of the unknown. This is why we like to maintain our daily routine and stay within our comfort zones. From our brain's point of view, this makes perfect sense. If our current habits allow us to be safe and avoid any potential threats to our survival or the survival of our ego, why bother changing them? Right? So our body wants to, like, be in the situation only because it is beneficial for our survival, right? So why to go outside of our survival mode to a potential threat, is how our body is thinking. But that's not true in current scenario, right? We are very safe, we are very secure. If we have to grow in our life, we have to go outside our comfort zone, right? Why bother changing them? This explains why we often keep the same routine or have the same thoughts over and over again. Now, it is also why we may experience a lot of internal resistance when trying to change ourselves, right? Internal resistance. External resistance, we learned it, that it doesn't matter at all. It's always the internal resistance that we have to cope. Okay, thus when we try to move beyond our comfort zones, we experience fear and distress. Now, do we want to stay in the same place most of our lives and avoid taking any risks? For me, the obvious answer is no. I want to grow, I want to, you know, reach to the level what I aspire for, right? Now, I hope this is the same for all of you, that's why you all are here now. Or do we want to pursue our dreams and see what we truly capable of becoming? Yes, that's what we want, isn't it? We have to remember, most of our fears are a threat only to our ego, not to our survival. Generally, they aren't physical threats, but imaginary ones, right? So, most of the time, the threats are imaginary threats. Thinking about something that might happen in the future, or that or something that has happened in the past, right? If we play it safe, we risk missing out on life, and we may regret it later, right? And this is something that is my mantra, and I want you all to inculcate this habit. Do everything that you want to do. Obviously it should be in the legal, like you should abide by all the laws and all the legal procedure, right? But within laws you can do anything that is making you feel happy, okay, so that you will not regret it later. This pain of regret is not worth it at all, okay. Below are some common fears you may experience. Now first one is fear of rejection. You're afraid of being rejected. This may be physical rejection from a specific group, but it is generally more subtle. For instance, you may be afraid of making a comment people could disapprove of, asking someone out and be turned down, or sharing your work and be criticized for it, right? Now, this is one type of fear. The second one is fear of failure. You're afraid of failing. This usually comes from the deepest fear of not being good enough. If you're afraid of being ridiculed and believe that failure will erode your self esteem, then this fear will exist, right? Then the third one is fear of loss. Human beings have an aversion to loss, which is why we often more motivated to prevent a loss than to secure a gain, right? So now you can relate this to the trading environment. So have you ever been in a trading position, like in a trade where you are in a winning position, and you feel this fear that all your profit might turn into loss, right? So you decide to leave some money on the table and you cut short your trade at that very position, and after some time you see the market moved in your direction, and if you would have just stayed in the trade, you would have got a lot more than profit that you have booked right now, right? That is because of the fear of loss, right? Now fear of disturbing. You're afraid of disturbing people, perhaps due to the belief you're not important enough. As a result, you may feel reluctant to affirm yourself for fear of appearing selfish. Now, fear of success. You're afraid of success. You may worry you won't be able to sustain it with all the added pressure on your shoulder. Now, how, like, these are all the fears. Now, how can we grow out of it? How to use fear to grow? The fear of doing something now is often a sign you should go ahead and do it anyway. Start it. Start as small as possible. Do it, okay, without putting a lot of thought behind it, okay. You can put some thought into it, but if the thought is becoming overthinking and it is hindering your first step, then you should avoid it in the first place, and you should start it anyway. For an example, if you want to learn trading, start with a small amount, be in the market and put on some trade. Start with some stocks. Don't directly jump into intraday trading. Don't directly jump into future and option, because the volatility is comparatively very high. So if you are starting, start with a stock. Put your real money into the market. If you are a student or you are a working professional, doesn't matter. Start small, okay. Put some money into the market so that you can understand your emotions while the market is moving in your direction or when it is going against you, okay. So you have to start. That's why I'm not a very big fan of paper trading. Like, paper trading is good, but not in the starting stage, right? Because then you'll do all the permutation, combination and everything, and sometimes most of the people, they just are very afraid to try it in the first place. Some practice, I am very, like, I'm in favor of this, that you can do some practice, but if the practice is becoming too what I can say, resisting in nature, that you are not even doing or taking the very first step, then you should avoid it in the first place, right? Just do it, okay. Now paper trading is good for, let's say, checking out your strategy, your edge and everything. You can do paper trading if you really want to do it, but you can do it for a while, and then you have to put your real money into the market. Take the first step, then only you can, you will understand what the market is actually capable of, or and how you as an individual is getting affected by the market movements, and how you will handle yourself, because it's always you versus you. It's never you versus market, you versus other traders. No, it's always you versus you in the market. And even if I'll not talk about general life scenarios, then also it is very true. Like whatever you want to do, let's say you want to start posting content, do it anyway. Don't wait for a perfect opportunity. Just think what kind of content that you want to make and do it. Just post it. Okay, this is just the beginning, right? So just post it anyway. If you'll see the first video of very famous content creators, influencers, or YouTubers, or whatever, their first video, if you'll just see them, they are not at all close to the word perfection at all. But now, at the current stage, they are pioneers in their own fields. How it is possible? Because you know, they moved to the path. They decided to take the first step, and they went with the ideology of trying and testing things, and ultimately they became better and better and better every day. And there is this other guy who was waiting for a perfect moment to arrive by checking everything, making it fall in place at the same time, so he just lags behind. Okay, so just start it anyway. Okay, this is why we often realize why a fool. Okay, let's say where exactly we were. The fear of doing something new is often a sign you should go ahead and do it anyway. This indicates a great opportunity for personal growth. Fear, as with any other emotion, only exist in your mind. If you can conquer your mind, then nothing else in this world can stop you from getting whatever you aspire to get, even way more than you even imagined you can get. Okay, so now the fear exists in your mind, so you have to work on your emotion, you have to work on your mental environment, and you have to conquer it in a manner that it is constructive to you. It is pointing you in the direction of getting your goals, your dreams, right? This is why we often realize what a fool we have been after we have completed something we were initially wary of starting. People who end up reaching their wildest goals often do so because they are willing to leave their comfort zone. Over time, they learn to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Picture one thing you were once afraid to do that is now no big deal for you. Now I can imagine that. For instance, I bet you were scared the first time you drove or your first day at work. Now, didn't you get used to it? The truth is, people have the formidable ability to learn. The key is to grow accustomed to experiencing discomfort once in a while. By not facing your fears on a regular basis, you'll greatly limit your potential for development. Staying inside your comfort zone can also erode your sense of self esteem, as in the back of your mind, you know you're not doing what you're supposed to do. There is a law in nature, things either grow or die. The same goes for human beings as well. When humans don't move beyond their comfort zone, they start dying inside. Don't let that happen to you. As Benjamin Franklin said, some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. Now, understand the gravity of this sentence. What Benjamin Franklin is trying to say over here. Some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. For me, for my understanding, it is like you just became the part of the rat race. You're doing the things that you really don't want to do for the rest of your life till the time you're not, what I can say, retire from your position or whatever you are doing in your life. And then at the end of the life, when you look back, you will feel like, okay, at that age, if I would have simply, you know, became little bit more daring. If I would have simply stepped out of my comfort zone, then my life would have been completely different. So please don't wait, just do it. Okay, do whatever you really want to do, just do it. Get out of your comfort zone, don't have any kind of fear. All you have to do is conquer your mind, and everything in the external environment will fall in the right places. Okay, now you can start with small things. I'm also inculcating it, like whatever things that are making you feel, what I can say, fearful, or like you feel very resistance toward it. Just try it, like small things. It can be as small as approaching a random guy, if you're introvert, approaching a random guy and having a random conversation. If you have this fear of, putting yourself out in the, mm, what I can say, in front of the people, do it in some form, right? Like, start small, but ultimately it will compound and it will become so big that you have never imagined it can reach to this level, right? I hope I'm making perfect sense and you're getting my point, right? So some people die at 25 and aren't buried until 75. So please don't fall in this category. Making sure some people doesn't include you. That's what even Benjamin Franklin and the author Thibaut Maurice has to say. Taking action. Now this is going to be the crux of whatever we have understood so far, and this is the action step. The first step to move out of your comfort zone is to realize even the most successful people on earth feel fear, which is a very common thing. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is taking action despite the fear. Courage is realizing fear is not going to go away and doing what you want to do anyway. Without fear, there is no courage. As you face fear on a regular basis, you cultivate courage and turn it into a habit, right? So face your fear on a regular basis, then you will cultivate courage and turn it into a habit, and it will, like, the thing that you were afraid of in some part of your life will be very easy to you after trying and testing it, right? After developing or cultivating courage, all you have to do is build this habit. You don't need to avoid fear or numb yourself to it before you can take action. Instead, you must accept the fact that fear won't go away and get used to it. Then you must decide to take action. Okay, so you are like acknowledging, okay, there is this fear which is very common emotion, but you have to grow out of it, so you have to take some action. Okay, exercise, move out of your comfort zone, try it out. To start moving out of your comfort zone, you can ask yourself, what is the one thing I should be doing but fear has made me procrastinate over? Ask yourself this question. It can vary from person to person. For you it can be something else, for me it can be something else, but there is always something that we are doing, that we know we have to do it, but we are procrastinating it over and over and over again. Once you do that one thing, you'll likely experience a sense of pride and of being alive. This is a sign you're on the right track. See it as the reward your brain gives you for moving beyond your comfort zone. Okay, now by this, we are coming to the end of the chapter. I hope you all learned something and now you're ready to take some action. Okay, so get out of your comfort zone, start small, and take action. On this very positive note, I'm ending this video. Make sure that you're giving the answer in the comment section. One very interesting question is waiting for you, and make sure to subscribe for more such content, and like the comment, like the comment, like the video, and make sure that you are sharing the video as well. Okay, so thank you so much, universe, thank you so much, Radharanji. Have fun. Peace out.